Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool will give up a chance for a 30% discount.
Are you interested in learning more about the Church of Jesus Christ?
Come on in.
We can't come inside unless another woman is present.
My wife is home. Does that count?
Great.
You like pie?
Yeah.
My wife has pie in the oven.
I could tell that you are a very spiritually curious person.
I think it is good to be religious, to find your faith in a doctrine you actually believe.
Well, our work here is done.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hey! I'm putting
This
my
week-
Japanese clip on my notebook so it stays open.
Is it a
It
chip
looks like
clip?
what we would call a hair clip back in the day, but because it's Japanese and it's made to keep my book open, it makes it more special.
I think people still wear hair clips, don't they?
Okay,
It
I've
still
never
exists
worn a
in
hair
nature.
clip. My hair is
Hey,
like,
hang on. Let me sit down. Say that again.
I don't wear hair clips because my beautiful
Shocking.
hair is as thin as like silk. It's like I have 3 hairs. So that you put a clip in
Thin
and it
as
just
silk.
slides out.
And just as soft, I'm sure. Your hair is like the
Just as
scarecrow
soft.
from Pearl, basically, is what we're talking about here.
No, that would be straw. My hair
What did I say?
is like
Silk?
silk.
I'm having an
Yes.
episode, as per usual. That takes the edge
We
off
say
the
it's a
insult.
mini stroke in this family.
I'm having a
I
series
have
of them.
baby hair. If
Interesting.
I had thick hair, I have an extreme amount of thin baby hair. So you
I don't
put
even
a
have that.
bread in it, and it just goes like this.
Just falls out.
Yeah, I should
Glad-
put a clip of my hair. We can watch it descend.
Let's do that. We'll sit in silence while we watch it slowly descend. Sweet Jesus.
That's what I
this-
like. I like physical comedy in an audio podcast.
Yeah, sight gags is what they're called in the biz. Yes.
All right, I'll
Um,
stop talking about my weird shit.
This week, we're discussing the horror new classic, Heretic, starring Hugh Grant and some other people. Topher Grace
And
is in
the
this ever so
rest.
briefly. Yes, the
Yeah.
professor and Marianne.
Mhm.
Each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's the latest?
Oh my god, I have 5 hours of sleep.
Why?
First, this is a series of me not getting enough sleep. The night before, I was up till like 11:30 on TikTok. So then I didn't get enough sleep. And then last night, I went to a concert, and it didn't start till 8:30. And the performer didn't come on till 9. So I didn't get home until like 11. And then I was
Okay.
too jacked up to go to sleep. So then I went to bed at 12:30. But I get up at 6. So I am like stumbling. I'm the Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead.
I do. Trust me. Good.
It was
Lord.
worth it. Morrissey was amazing.
Did you? So you're just tired, or did you catch something from Morrissey?
No, yeah, I caught something from Morrissey when he and I were making out at backstage at 3 a.m.
As he's loath
He
to
at
do.
75 announced that he'd been up since 3 in the morning.
He's 75 years old. That's wild.
That's what he said. I feel like he's not 75. I should Google that.
So you
That's
think he's
all good
lying?
pod too.
You think he's 85? This is all
No,
stuff
I
that's
think
going to
he's
make me feel
younger.
very old. You think he's lying, like saying he's older than he is? Who does that?
How could he be that old? That just doesn't seem right.
Uh,
He
maybe he
was
wasn't
born
as
in
young.
50. He was born in 59.
59.
So he's
Okay, so we
not
do the math.
75 years old.
We're going to do the math.
Well, he's
Six,
not
okay,
75.
okay. He's about 65, 66. How's my math?
I
Not
can't
great?
do math. He's 65 years old. But he
Thank
said
you.
last night he was 75 and everybody applauded. So he was just fing around.
That's so
As
bitch.
Morrissey does.
He seems like a hoot. Very
He
relaxed,
actually is quite
chill.
funny.
Is he?
One of the
Doesn't come
funnier
across.
lines was he was telling many little stories about his travels and nonsense. People are like, "We love you, Morrissey," and he like just stopped what he was doing. He was like, "Of course you love me. That's why you're here. That's why you're all here."
I thought he'd say, "I love you too," but nope.
No, Morrissey was not going to do that. So he was talking about how when he does all these shows and he travels around the countryside, a lot of gifts are given
Ooh.
and show up for the band. He's like, well, not Bakersfield. A lot of slim pickings in the gift department, Bakersfield. And all the audience was like, what? No, he's like, oh no, it's true.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Well,
So
we found some common ground with Bakersfield.
Yeah, well, you never know what you're going to get.
never
But
know.
like I said, he sounded great and he was very amusing. And he did, in fact, sing 2 songs that I actually knew. So that's good.
2 songs that you knew. How long was the concert and how much did you pay for it for 2 songs?
I paid about $100. I was in the 8th row. And I mean, it all sounds good, but there were 2 Shoplifters of the World Unite. These are Smith songs.
Yeah.
And Every Day is Like Sunday. Every Day is Silent and Gray.
I was never a huge Smiths, person. The only Morrissey song I know is The More You Ignore Me. The closer I get, you're wasting your time. Don't know that one?
See, I love it. It's all just like,
The more
I mean,
you ignore me.
girlfriend in a coma.
Unlikely that I know
Yeah,
that song.
you would notice. How about the one that was the theme for the TV show Charmed?
No,
I'm
never
the
watched
sun, I'm the air.
Nope.
What the Where you been?
I tell people this. I am Mr.
Did you hate music of all sorts?
I hate music of all sorts, number 1. Number 2 is I'm Mr. Greatest Hits. I'm Mr. Top 40. Don't give me, you know what, he's got a big following in Brazil, right?
No.
I don't
This isn't we're big in Japan. No. Morrissey's a
big in
thing.
Japan. I'm not denying that. He's a thing. But you know what it is? I kind of compare it to like Led Zeppelin, for example.
No, I hate
Led Zeppelin. Huge band. Yes. Obviously.
Yes.
It did not affect my life one iota. I have never sat down and said, let me put on some Led Zeppelin. Does that make me a scumbag?
Never.
Perhaps.
No.
I don't know.
It makes you a connoisseur. The only thing, I was watching the Hulk movie and they were playing the Immigrant song, and I'm like, okay, well, I like this song here with Tiny Hulk bouncing around to the Immigrant song.
That's a good song. That's a good song.
There we go.
I have not downloaded it to my playlist.
Nope. It is not on my Spotify playlist. But if I hear it again, I'll pause and be like, oh, it's the Immigrant song. Good. That's nice. Where's Little Hulk?
It's another band that never really touched me. And again, I'm not judging these bands. I'm not saying they suck. I'm just saying
different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely. The Grateful Dead.
Oh, yeah. I like that Touch of Grey. Remember they had that one mainstream hit?
From like the 80s, right? It was like an 80s hit. Right.
And I was like, oh, I kind of like that. I don't like jam bands.
Ooh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, not my deal. I made the fatal error about 15 years ago to go see Bob Dylan.
Oh, I could give two shits about Bob Dylan.
Oh, Jesus. I thought I had, before I knew to research these sons of bitches, he doesn't play any of his old songs that you might actually know. It
Okay.
is 3 hours of jamming. And I didn't have the good sense because I paid so much to just fucking go home and call it a day.
Not
I
my
was
jam.
like, oh.
I'm also very poppy. Like my taste tends to be a little on the poppier side. You know what I'm saying? So like I love to do what I've done in the past is I'll like Google one-hit wonder bands from the 80s. And I'll just be like, "Oh, here's a fun little song that I vaguely remember. I'm in. I'm in."
There's a
And I'm
lot
cool
of
with that.
one-hit wonder bands from the age, which is nice to see them at the festivals. You see that hit, and you just kind of fade away. On to the next.
On to the next. But that's what I'm saying. And we've had this discussion before. There are people who are like, I just like to go listen to live music. And then there's me. If I have to love, I think I said 5 songs. 5 songs is the minimum. I have to love 5 of your songs before I'm plunking down $1 and getting out my ass off the couch to go see your concert. Because I know
I'm
I'm going to be
starting to
there for a
wonder
couple
if it's
hours.
5 songs. I mean, I saw Love and Rockets, and there are 4 songs I know. One they weren't playing because we looked at, because I was starting to get, I'm like, I heard the 2 songs that I know,
Right.
and then I'm hearing a lot of jam. There are like some bands where their hits are amazing,
Yes.
and the rest of it is not. And Heather said to me, they may play the third one in the second encore. I'm like, out!
The second encore. Kiss
Yeah.
my ass the second. I'm outraged when they kind of force us to, applaud so they come back and do their biggest hit. It's like, you son of a bitch, I paid full freight. You're out there. Dance, monkey, dance. It's kind of my attitude. I already paid the check. Don't make me now up here now do some performative standing ovation so you'll come back and play your biggest hit. I'm out.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Morrissey, in fact, introduced the band, sang 2 songs, and like, we out!
2 songs? What are you talking about? For Honey?
At the end.
Oh.
At the end.
Gotcha. I thought you said...
He played for about an hour and a half. Which is
Right.
better than 15 years ago. I saw the B-52s and they played for an hour.
An hour's a good amount. If you give me all your hits
and
get me out of there in an hour, I'm good. I'm
Bullshit.
good. Don't give me an hour.
Yeah, they had an opening act that I hadn't heard of. But no, an hour is a scam.
I guess it just depends. We're 15 minutes of the podcast. Maybe we should talk about.
I mean, music and politics, baby, very important in our lives.
It's a thing. So that being said, Aaron, give us your 30-second synopsis of Heretic, not The Heretic. By the way, I learned to my horror.
If only it was The Heretic. I'm not sure if that's better. Mormon missionaries cruising neighborhoods, proselytizing. Someone filled out a card that says, I would be interested in talking to you about your religious beliefs. So they show up. They did not listen to the rules about not being in there with a single man. And again, it's the old women need to be polite. And before they knew it, they screwed. And so they were forced to listen to a lecture of the history of religion and how this son of a bitch discovered the true religion. And then all of a sudden it became like Cabin in the Woods. What the In the end, Mormons win. Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Now, this is a good question. Did you see this in the theater, Aaron?
No.
So this is your first viewing. You saw it on Max.
I saw it advertised on Max. I'm like, okay, because I think you told me you saw it.
Yes.
You thought it was pretty good.
I saw it 4 months ago in December in the theater with my daughter Grace, who you've met.
I have met her.
You've met her on occasion.
Is that blonde girl or yeah?
Sometimes she's blonde.
Sometimes.
We walked in there, and I have to, and on this rewatch, without spoiling too much, the first 45 or not 45, first like 75%, I would say, is pretty legit. It is both barrels.
I thought it was very interesting.
And maybe that's the issue, because I don't know how often I was truly scared versus.
No. But I was interested. I was paying attention.
Interested.
I was like,
Yes.
okay, let's go.
Totally.
Let's tell the truth. Tell the truth. Were you a little disappointed that it wasn't some kind of satanic old god that he discovered?
You mean the grand reveal?
Yes. Were you a little disappointed when it didn't fly that way?
Yes. Well, I don't know if let me say this.
A lot of disappointed.
I don't know if I anticipated the devils downstairs or some shit, although that would be an interesting choice. But whatever I anticipated.
The devil went down to Georgia.
Looking for a soul to steal. I always tell a story of Becky and I, my wife, had just gotten engaged. And
is that your wife's name? Thanks for sharing that.
And we went on kind of, it sounds like a world tour, but I went around to meet kind of her parents' friends kind of thing. And Becky, for some reason, found it hilarious when I would karaoke. So here I was, we were at like this resort with like, I swear to God, 100 of her mom's friends around this pool. And they pulled out the karaoke machine, because I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'll karaoke. Yeah. I was a drama major.
Boom. I can project.
So song 1 was A Devil Went Down to Georgia, because that was Becky's request. And the second request that she thought was hilarious to have me do was the Thong Song by Cisco. I sang that in front of 100 people, 100 strangers who are close personal friends of my soon-to-be in-laws.
And I'm guessing you did it stone cold sober, since you're not 100%. Much of a drinker.
Stone cold sober. God.
That is a bold move.
Let me see that thong. Anyway, that being said, I was a little disappointed by the ending, just by virtue of the fact that you kind of gird up when you're like, ooh, what's behind that door? When they have to choose which door, what are they going to find?
Right. It was supposed to be like the Lady or the Tiger. It was supposed to be that kind of a situation.
Totally. So at that point, I'm a little disappointed.
But it was not.
It was
There
not.
are 2 doors that led to the same place, mother effa.
Correct. Now, watching it this time, knowing what the grand reveal was, it kind of takes a little of the sting out, and I'm able to more fully enjoy it. You know what I mean? I think whenever there's a grand mystery, like, oh shit, what's the creature in the closet or whatever, you know what I mean? What's the monster in the woods or the thing in the swamp? When they don't show it to you for a long time, you start kind of course, imagining what this thing is. You just get a feeling, oh my God, it's going to be some terrifying thing. And then usually it's some claymation bullshit, and you're like, oh, well, that sucks. And it kills the movie. I don't think this kills it. I want to be clear. But I did find it disappointing. How about that?
Yes. Because it's ridiculous.
it was kind of half-baked.
I was all there. And I think this is a problem with a lot. I'm just going to say horror movies. Because I really see it more in horror movies, where they don't know how to wrap it up. You're solid 75% of the way. And then it's the substance, and then it's like, what?
Right, it's the Stephen King disease is what we call it. You've already invested 750 pages, and then he just throws a grenade on the ending. I don't know. I give up.
And then the hand of God just came down and crushed Las Vegas.
Exactly. Well, that's a 1,100 page book or whatever. The Stand on the Bridge.
Before Harry Potter. This was Harry Potter fucking thick.
Right. Absolutely. Sweet Jesus. Anyway, why don't we jump right into the highlights, Aaron? Why don't you start us off?
Well, what's his name?
Hugh
Hugh
Grant?
what? What's Hugh? There's so many British
Hugh
Hughes
Jackman?
now. I almost called him Hugh Jackman. He's not even British.
Right.
Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie.
He- I always liked him, and he is solid. But the beauty of this, because he always plays the same fucking character, is he lets a little of that evil out. He lets a little bit of I picked up a trans prostitute glimmer in his eye.
You know what? It's interesting you say that, because as he's gotten older, the curtain has kind of been pulled aside to reveal that he's kind of a
Yes.
dick in real life. Like he's the guy who's
In
rude
the
to the
80s,
fans.
we knew he was a dick. Cruising for $8 blowjobs in LA.
That was
Come
the
on, brother.
90s. That was
that
the
the
90s.
90s?
Yeah,
80s,
well, yeah.
90s. Decades drift by.
I'm trying to think when he really kind of took off. It was Four Weddings and a Funeral is when America at large, like, were introduced to Hugh Grant. I mean, he had done stuff
Right.
in England prior to that, but the broad release to, oh, who's this guy, was Four Weddings and a Funeral.
And Bridget Jones, come on.
That's later. That's much later.
But
that's like the 2000s now we're talking about.
they're trying to redeem himself. So now he's not the sweet innocent after that. Now he's kind of like a little scoundrel.
He is like a scoundrel. So much so, which is interesting, if you watch Bridget Jones, you got Colin Firth. Now, Colin Firth, when he was first introduced to America, was the scoundrel.
Right.
He was the guy who
Circle
was like
of Friends.
Circle of Friends, Shakespeare in Love. He was always the asshole kind of.
God, I love Shakespeare in Love. That was such a good movie.
I'm right there with you, but he's always the asshole other guy.
Yeah.
What it is. Where Hugh Grant
Until
right.
Oh
Well,
no, go ahead. We're walking all over each other.
They switched because Hugh Grant, who was the kind of nebbishy British guy in all of his things, where it's like, oh, we kind of like his kind of soft-spoken, understated charm,
He's the underdog, but he's British. Look how lovely and British he is.
Right. Look how lovely and British he is. And then it switched by the time Bridget Jones came out, where now he's the rake and Colin Firth is the underdog we're pulling for. So
I mean, come on, Colin Firth, Pride and Prejudice. That's all you need to do. You say Colin Firth to a certain women of a certain age. Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy.
And of course, he plays Mr. Darcy in all of the Bridget Jones until they decide to kill him off, just like Big and Sex in the City. And then I had to say, all of you. Can't anyone just ever be happy? Can't Carrie be happy with Mr. Big? Can't Bridget Jones be happy with Mr. Darcy? No one should be happy.
The reason is because if everybody's happy, there's no drama. Then they're just going to fucking Bed Bath & Beyond on a Saturday afternoon. You know what I mean?
You just end the series happily ever after. Off. That's the point. Record scratch where I was like, Doherty out. Don't care anymore. After you see all of this, and then it's like, it's not even like he cheats on her. Right. You know what I mean? Like, he dies.
Right. I hear you. But as for Sex in the City, it's that same thing where it's like, they're a bad match. Her and Mr. Big, it's like the worst. And then she's with Aiden. Why are we talking about this for some reason? And poor Aiden, she like sends him packing because she's still in love with Mr. Big. And
of
eventually,
course,
it all just makes her look kind of weak and whipped. Is a sad situation.
She is weak, but a lot of people fall into these patterns. Just normally, you don't then get the guy at the end.
Right.
They're trying to fix, you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to fix the way we were. Exactly. They're trying to fix the way we were. That like somehow Robert Redford realizes that it's really Barbra Streisand that he loved all along. And he had to marry this other girl to really realize what he wants. And a lot of, I think, female writers want to fix that.
Right.
But then you can't kill him off. You're not allowed to kill him off.
Well, and I guess, I don't know why we're talking about this in our Heretic show.
Because we don't got that much to say about Heretic. I have four notes.
I got some shit to say, but it basically is Pride and Prejudice, right? It's like he has to be the asshole
Not
the
Heretic.
entire movie. Not the Heretic. He has to be the asshole the entire book, the entire movie, because he's he's not a true asshole.
He's not really an asshole. He's misunderstood. He's shy.
Right.
I mean, talk about messages. Jane Austen, who I love all this bullshit, but really what it tells you is to marry the asshole because he's secretly good, and the person who you have the immediate connection with and you seem to be jibing with is really not who you think he is. Right. That is the message in every Jane Austen novel.
Right. The good guy is not really the good guy, and the asshole is not really the asshole, which is a bad message to send to America's women. Because then it's like, Ike Turner is really just misunderstood.
He hasn't found the right woman.
Right.
I mean, the right one to fucking deck him in the face, but
anyway,
it's that thing. You ain't fixing him, baby. You ain't fixing him.
Let's go back to Hugh Grant for a second, because I want to say, I was talking to Becky about this. We went through this period not that long ago. We're like, we kind of miss old school Hugh Grant. You know what I mean? There's something kind of soothing and
Notting Hill.
To watch a Notting Hill, to watch one of those things. And I have to say, they made a joke about this in that Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Long Legs.
Where they talk about, Long Legs, where they talk about how good Paddington 2 was. And it is, and it's entirely due to Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant plays the villain, Phoenix Buchanan, and he is so charming and so fun and so interesting that I own Paddington 2 because of how good Hugh Grant was in this movie.
Dude, you're going hard for a child's movie that I would have not seen Paddington 1. Your children are too old for you to be seeing Paddington movies.
Have you? That's what Nicolas Cage said until him and Pedro Pascal are sitting there laughing and crying. And that's what you need to do, is watch Paddington 2. Don't watch Paddington 1. Don't watch Paddington in Peru. Only watch Paddington 2. I'm just telling you. You'll thank me.
When I lived in London in the 80s, the Paddington station was my local underground station.
Were there a lot of bears from Brazil? I guess not Brazil, Peru.
No, but there were a lot of Turkish steakhouses.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Anywho, why don't we...
And a Safeway.
So, in Heretic, there are two Mormon missionaries, two young ladies who are doing their thing. And it's interesting because they really do, very quickly, we like them. You know what I mean? Very quickly, we're kind of pulling for them. Do you disagree with that? Because you're kind of giving me a little...
No, I was trying to describe them because at first they're these kind of Mormon mission. One is born and raised. One's a convert who's had a past. Right. But really by the end, they're undercover Mossad agents disguised as little innocent Mormon missionaries.
Well, and this is true.
Unless they're teaching some commando moves.
Maybe they are.
We just don't know about it because we're not in the club.
We don't know. It's entirely possible. But as is their job, they go knock on people's doors and talk about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, you do, like you said, typically you fill out a form or whatever, and they come and visit you. This reminds me. Somebody filled out a card for old K-Dog with the Jehovah's Witness. I'm not joking. And they came to me, 2 different addresses. 2 different, like they were tracking me down, like knocking on the door. Hey,
lost soul. He ain't gonna get away this time.
And the Jehovah's Witness, oftentimes it's like they're coming to the door with like their family and shit.
Dude,
it's like
they put that stroller right in front so you don't like intentionally harm their children to get to you
Absolutely.
or
That's,
get
I
to
mean,
them.
this must be the greatest prank in the world. Just fill out one of those forms and then just sit back and laugh, right? Because then you're going to have people knocking on your door forever. Essentially, is what I've
Who do you
learned.
think did it?
I don't know. Somebody did. Yes, we got your address from the form you filled out. They sent me letters. I'm like, leave me alone. I don't want to be rude, but I've become the heretic at this point, at this stage of the game, just to get them to leave me alone. Anyway, that's
No,
not here
and
or
I
there.
think they're vegetarian, so that really rules that a lot of that out.
Not doing it. But they go to Hugh Grant's house, and what's great about this movie is he still kind of has that Hugh Grant charm. He's a little bit older, a little bit grayer, but still you want to like him, right? When you're walking in the door, you want to like him, but you're starting to see those little things that are making you go like, "What's up?" Well, why? That's kind of strange because it is. It's like the house is like a fortress, right? The door is locked, the lights are clanking off, all this stuff. And they do say, hey, it's a safety thing. We can't come in unless there's another woman in the house that can come be. And
Which
he's
is
like, oh, yes.
bullshit because these serial killers, I do enjoy their true crime. They'll have their abused girlfriend, wife with them to help
Right.
catch girls.
Well,
Yeah.
right. Sometimes they're
Natural-born
just
killers and all
100%.
that.
100%. So one moment that was great is like the third time, I think it was Sister Paxton, who's kind of like the sweeter and more innocent one, is like, would you please go get your wife and bring her in here? And he says, okay, I'll do that. And he turns and starts to walk away and says, do you really want me to go out? And do you still think that there's a wife that I'm going out to talk to? I mean, I can go out and ask her if that's what you think, but do you really still believe that there's a wife in the other room that I'm talking to about this?
That
was
should have been it.
Well, by then
That's
it's
when
too
you
late.
start busting through the windows.
That's when
Well,
it's too late. Go ahead.
and they're not rule followers. They should have had their eyes on that lady before that door closed behind them.
I think we're also on some level to think that because it's rainy and stormy, that they're kind of like we want to get out of the rain, and initially we're just going to stand in the doorway. That's their hope and dream. But who can? I find
Well, then, Kevin, you know the rule. Then
you get
what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Because
sometimes you get Hugh Grant. Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you get Colin Firth.
Sometimes you get Uncle Fester.
Uncle Fester. Well, and that's the thing. It's like we often think if we're in that situation, we would do X, Y, and Z. In reality, if we were in that situation, we'd be dead. We'd be dead in 2 seconds, right? If Jason's knocking on our door coming to get us, we're dead. We're dead quicker than the people in the movie in cold hard reality.
For sure. At one point, I'm just going to be like, I can't outrun you. Shall I just lay here? Are you going to kill me?
Offer my throat.
I'm just going to lay down here and wait.
One thing that was particularly effective to me is it seems like, and correct me if you disagree, that
I will.
You may cut me off. Sister Barnes, the dark-haired Mormon missionary,
yes,
who's kind of, she's the convert. She's had kind of a checkered history in her family, like her father died.
Secular life.
A secular life. It seems like they're kind of presenting her as though she's the audience surrogate. She's the heroine. She's the protagonist. Right? Like she's the one.
So that was a good twist.
That was a hell of a twist. When because she's the one who plots. She gives the letter opener to Sister Paxton and says, keep this with you because he's watching me too closely. If the shit gets rough, I'll say magic underwear, which is our code word, and then you'll stab him. And so she's about to say it, and then it's whoosh, like quick as a whip. Hugh Grant takes a box cutter and just slices her throat. Boom. And at that point, I was like, "Oh shit!" Because I didn't anticipate that.
I was
I
like,
didn't see
whoa, what did I miss? What did I
Right.
like, what? Huh?
Totally, because it's that thing where it's the twist of the screw. You know what I mean? Where it's like
It was the failure of the other girl to act.
because she was like the sweet, innocent kid who.
Okay, so now you've seen that she's slit her friend's throat is cut, so you back away.
And she runs. She tries to run up the stairs to
She had a knife and she was an inch away. It's called stab run.
Stab,
Not
stab,
run.
stab.
Let's throw the knife at the guy or lay it gently on the floor and then go hide.
Fair. Now, what did you think? There's that stretch where he goes from talking about how all I need is the air that I breathe by the Hollies leads to Creep.
Fascinating.
It was really
because I love All the Air I Need, and I love Creep.
And there's a Lana Del Rey song as well. Yeah,
and I enjoy the Lana Del Rey, but I felt like I was in a lecture. I think that went too far. I think they thought we didn't get it with the Monopoly, so they had to add another layer of how when things are duplicated, it's watered down.
What was it called?
The
Landlord's Game was the original.
Yeah, something like
game.
that.
Right.
Well,
right.
Okay, but we don't need two different examples, one using Monopoly and one using records. It was interesting, but it actually ate 3/4 of the film. That was 3/4 of the film.
It was.
Explaining religion to religious people.
I kind of dug it.
I liked it. And I wouldn't be complaining if the last quarter of the movie was trash.
I think trash might be overstating it, but fair. It was interesting also. What was it? He compared, because Monopoly was basically a ripoff of an older game called The Landlord's Game that no one plays and faded into obscurity. And they're saying basically Judaism is Landlord's Game, right? And Christianity is Monopoly, and then Islam is what? Like crazy Monopoly.
Super Mario's Monopoly. It's like pop culture Monopoly. It's like there's different versions based on movies and shit. Whatever.
Well, and then it was like, and Mormonism is the kooky regional version, and he puts down a box where it's like the Bob Ross edition of, and she calls him on it. It's like, frankly, your garage sale board game analogy was offensive. And I'm like, absolutely.
Because I mean that part before they pull the curtain back and you see what they're really talking about, that whole lead up I enjoyed. Now looking back, we needed more story, less 25 examples. I thought he was going to go then, and now here's the Twilight book. Here's the first Twilight. Remember, blah, 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 blah. Now here we are, and with each subsequent version, it's watered down and trash. I mean, how many more? He didn't need 2 examples of how copies are watered down and changed. Okay, I got you.
I was okay with it, but I understand what you're saying. But let me ask you this, because they're basically saying you have to leave, and he's very much like his whole thing is if he
pretends there are these rules that you follow the rules and everything's okay. Now I told you you're okay with the metal in my roof. Well, you said you were okay. I just didn't tell you it was a Faraday cage, so you can't make any phone calls. Like I
what
agreed
would you
to
say?
that.
Is it okay I have metal in my walls and ceiling? No, that's not okay. I don't
Take
care
it
for
out
that.
before I come in.
Take it out, damn it.
mean,
No, you're right.
The one premise about the girls caught in the rain.
Yes.
Has it ever rained and you're outside and you're like, well, I had no idea it was going to rain today? No, that's not a thing.
I've never been a Mormon
We have
missionary.
so much fucking technology.
But I don't know if it's just kind of like, if you're a Mormon missionary that's like, tough. We got to visit these 5 different sites or places. So you get on your bike and go. I don't know how it works.
Call an Uber and get a rain jacket or something. I mean,
I'm not sure that's how it works, but fair enough.
All right. I mean, we're assuming this is modern day.
I think it's absolutely, well, they have cell phones, right?
Yeah.
That's why they weren't able to call for help. Because
I get this alert on my phone, rain starting soon.
I got an alert on my phone saying earthquake starting soon. That was the craziest thing. I was like,
the
whoa.
cow shake.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you have this little job thing where you're everywhere on a bicycle, I feel like you would know the weather. So, because your premise was they broke their rule because they were getting damp.
I think maybe that played. I'm not saying it's entirely that. I think they broke their rule because he seemed very nice, and oh, my wife's just in the other. He lied, and he set that tone of, if I tell you what you want to hear in a nice voice, then you're gonna believe me. And that's kind of his whole thing, where it's just like, you can leave anytime you want. Oh, but you have to go through the back door.
But that's a lie.
Right.
It's always a lie.
It's a lie, but I say it nicely, and it's the lie you want to believe. And I think that's kind of
the lie you want to believe.
It's his premise about religion. It's the lie you want to believe, but the lie is told to control your actions, essentially. Right. That's what it's all about. Right? They open up the door. The rule
is serial killers are going to lie to you.
That is a pretty typical rule in the serial killer handbook. No question.
It is 101.
In
serial
the basement,
killer for dummies.
Absolutely. In the basement, where the quote unquote prophet comes out. What did you think was happening down there before the grand reveal?
I thought it was his wife. I thought it was his wife.
Oh, really?
That obviously is still looking for that door that takes you outside.
Yep. Right. I thought,
and then I couldn't really understand her prophecy. Like, she had a prophecy. I couldn't really understand that.
Right. Because what was it? It was this woman comes out, and I thought it was like some kind of, I don't know, religious creature that he found in the woods or in the mountains, something he brought in and imported and is locking in his basement for some reason, right? So she comes out
the
wearing,
witch with the 2 V's.
100%. And she comes out wearing like veils and things like that, so you can't really see her face. And she eats the blueberry pie, which was one of the reasons why they trusted that everything's going to be okay if the wife's cooking blueberry pie in the other room, which she wasn't. But it's
a blueberry candle.
It's a blueberry candle, which I think you would notice that the smell's coming from the candle. The candle that's a foot away from you. But that's not
my smell holes work. So
yes,
if I'm sitting
100%.
next to a candle, I'll be like, that's a candle.
That's a candle. But she eats the blueberry pie, which is poison, and she drops dead. But she's supposed to, later she comes back to life, quote unquote.
She resurrects.
She resurrects and says some shit about there's clouds in the sky and some other nonsense. But she ends with, it's not real. It's not real. So later, when Sister Barnes is murdered, Sister Paxton basically figures out everything. She figures out this is not a real prophet. This is not somebody who's come back from the grave. This was somebody who's, who died, who killed themselves, and were replaced with another woman wearing the veils and shit, saying the shit.
Because she was placed differently.
Right. Her head's in a different spot. Like, she saw it immediately. So the other thing about it, she's like, I haven't figured it out yet, but there's another way in here. And the other prophet came out and replaced her, threw her body down there. She is able.
I just don't think you are going to think clearly like that in a stress situation.
Hell no.
You're not going to notice anything. It's all going to be a blur. It's just a blur because you're in this trauma, fear-based situation. It's not like, I'm playing How to Host a Murder and now I'm going to solve this.
Well, and
there's too much shit coming at you. You're in shock.
It's been established this guy is a murderer. He just slit your friend's throat right in front of you. Are you going to be challenging his premise? Or are you just going to be like, whatever you say, boss, I'm in.
I mean, whatever you say, boss, until I get close enough to kill you.
Until you pull out the
because that is the only way you're getting out.
Well, and then how do you get out? This place is a fortress with a crazy thing. You have to unlock the door. You have to move the freaking light switch and then twitch some things. And
dude, if I have to kick a hole in the wall, I'm going out.
But there's metal.
I mean, I don't know what you think that was an old house. It's like lath and plaster. Just start kicking.
It
wasn't a stone castle. This is not like Game of Thrones.
I don't know.
Doherty's out. Doherty's fucking out.
You're going through the wall one way or another, is what you're saying,
dude. And I'm not eating any blueberry pie, which I don't like anyway. So that'll save me.
I find
this is now we're getting to the part where it all starts falling apart.
It does start to fall apart. The moment he goes, so he opens up the hidden trapdoor. The trapdoor part was ridiculous because she's like, "Oh, I'll move the table and then I'll find like the corner of the trapdoor hidden under dirt. If you open up that trapdoor, all the dirt falls off. So then if you close are you sprinkling the sand back on it? I don't know. Unclear.
Right. So the lady, okay, so spoiler, there is a body down below. So we're to assume that the replacement came, moved all the furniture, lifted up the trapdoor, threw the dead lady, closed it back up, got some dirt, covered everything up, moved all the tables back, laid back down, to surprise you 5 minutes later.
Correct. So
there's too much.
She goes down in the tunnel. So now they're like they're a journey to the center of the earth or some shit. They're like down, and now it's kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of tunnel with like
or as above, so below. Just keep going lower. You have to go down to go back up.
The only way out is through. Like Swamp Thing. I don't remember that line from Swamp Thing, but I have to go watch it again.
Maybe it was a lie.
So she goes in there and finds a crazy room that was padlocked with their bike lock. Okay. Opens it up, and there's these women in these little cages where they just lay down.
It's like literally out of Amadeus when Salieri goes to the madhouse, and you see they are not as tall as a crib. They're like 1 foot by 5 feet, and all these women are like locked in there. And they all look fucking alike. Like he's breeding crazy ladies, so they all are the same age with the same hair and the same clothes and keeping it nice and cool for them because that's what they like.
It's like Barbarian, right? If you watch Barbarian, there were weird.
Except Barbarian's a much better movie.
I don't disagree. But it's unclear. Like he says, have you figured out what the one true religion is? And she admits it's control. That's the answer you're looking for. The answer is religion is just control. But why is he?
There's been control since the dawn of time. That's not necessarily religion. You don't need a religion for control. It's just control.
Well, but
I am your boss.
That's why
I'm the king.
Why are you doing this? She asks him, and his response is, "Why do you let me?" That's the thing. That's why he feels like in
why
religion,
is that a religion?
In religion, you willingly kind of subjugate yourself. Is I think his premise. Now, why are the? It still doesn't explain why he's doing it. Why he's
No.
putting? Look, he said he studied religion for 10 years, and the more he learned, the less he knew. And I guess he
I
snapped
mean, our
after.
sister said that. She studied religion at University of San Diego, and she was comparing it to one of her friends who went to BYU. BYU compares all religions to Mormonism and shows you why they're all wrong.
Right.
Versus the Catholics, by the time you walk out of that comparative religion, you're an atheist.
Right. Right. It's a thing. It's a thing. I mean, in a way, the studying of the world's religions is just interesting. It would be an interesting
It's
thing to kind
interesting.
of look into. You know what I mean? To see what
Not
different
as
people believe.
interesting as Greek and Roman mythology, but I mean, we'll do what we got to do.
We'll do what we got to do. Well, that's what I'm saying. When I was in third grade, I was studying Greek mythology just for my own amusement. I was not studying the world's religions other than that. So
There, we only care about the Greeks. I'm gonna go set up a shrine to Hera right
please
after
do.
this.
Please do. So was he? It's not explained, but was he putting the women in the cages? And presumably he was going to put her in a cage. Is that what we're supposed to think? She was next to
We don't know.
Does he put them in the
She looks
cage?
nothing like those women. They're all exactly the same. And if the whole religion is simply control, why do you have prophets? What prophecy from who, from where?
It's not a real
If
prophecy.
it's control, there's no deity. What are they prophesizing?
He's basically just messing with these people. That's what it's all about. He's messing with the women in the cages because what is revealed is that from time to time they're let out of their cages and they assist him in his whatever this is, right? One of them ran out and grabbed the bike. One of them went out and willingly ate the poisoned blueberry pie, and the body was
People
replaced
are
by another one.
traumatized,
Right.
and just destroyed. Are they willingly doing it? It's like those people who've been kidnapped, people in abusive relationships, where you can at some point you can take the cage away.
Well, it's like an elephant, right? Where when you're a little baby elephant, they put a big chain around their leg and they can't break the chain, so that when they're old and could conceivably break the chain, they can just hold them with just a rope. Because they've learned over the course of their entire lives, you cannot break this chain. So they stop trying. Never heard that
Again,
before?
if his religion is control, why does he need prophets?
He doesn't need there's no prophecy. The
why is he writing down their prophecies? There is no prophecies because they don't die and come back.
Right.
So that's all lies too.
It's all a lie. He's messing with his victims. He's messing with the Mormon missionaries who are coming down. He messes with whoever comes down. This is part of his process to mess with them, to eventually, or not mess with them, basically proselytize to them so that they give up and climb into the cage and say, okay, I'll be your next prophet.
Is that correct? So his end goal was to just break their minds until they crawl into the cage?
Absolutely.
For what?
Now you lost me. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Right? To what purpose? Just to mess with religious people?
And this is the part that I really hate, because in Cabin in the Woods, that's tongue in cheek. They're trying to be serious here, but he's got tunnels. There's no way he's got this whole labyrinth built miles underground. There's no way he did that.
Correct.
And old ladies in a cage
rocking
out Amadeus are doing it.
Right.
So
I love how it's Amadeus to you. When I see women in cages, I immediately go Amadeus, of course.
I had to go. It's all pure Salieri. I mean, when you saw they had a model that showed all the stairs to the labyrinth and all that. As soon as I
Right.
saw that nonsense, I was like, this.
So that was your final reaction was this.
I was like, this is stupid. I was
Okay.
like, this is just stupid.
I fully
Bring me
admit,
back the people under the stairs. Let them be the prophets. I'm down with that.
I
The
admit,
rocker dudes under the stairs.
I admit that the ending is
It's
questionable.
bullshit.
But I'm kind of the mind after seeing it the second time that it, because I knew what it was going in the second time, right?
You-
That it doesn't bother me
You
as
have
much.
no expectations. I mean, and I don't disagree. Sometimes that happens.
Well,
Where
but
you see it the first time, it's garbage. The second
Correct.
time, not so bad.
I didn't think it
Now
was
that would
garbage.
not be Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust does not get better with subsequent viewings.
fair.
Your first impression is enough.
No, I will agree with you that it's kind of like the ending doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, right? It kind
Yeah,
of
it was
loses its
disappointing.
speed. It's disappointing.
Maybe it looked better on paper. We'll give Hugh the benefit of the doubt.
Well, you know what it like. We've seen this 1,000 times, where a screenwriter has this premise, right? But he doesn't know what's going to happen after they choose the door and go down into the cellar. He doesn't know
Right.
what's beyond that door yet, right? But it's greenlit, so I gotta come up with something, right? And you're kind of stuck. Anyway, any last thoughts before we go behind the scenes?
My only thought is that
Please.
Hugh Grant needs to do more kind of dark, dramatic roles because he's good. He's got it in there.
He's
He
good.
can do it.
The
He's
acting
good.
was great.
He's
in
good
this,
for
I thought.
like I said, he's good for 75% of that. And quite frankly, he's too long in the tooth to keep playing like, oh, I'm British and amusing. Let's see some teeth.
Fair enough. Let's go behind the scenes, shall we?
All right.
Hugh Grant once stated in an interview, I'm getting bored of playing obvious roles and being typecast.
Oh, really? After 40 years
I know.
of being the exact character? Okay.
The writer-director saw this interview and wrote the character of Mr. Reed with Hugh as their top choice for the role. Boom. So there you go. Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East were both raised Mormon and were able to give valuable insight into the religion when
Sophie
shooting the
and
movie.
Chloe. Oh,
Yes. And they're both no longer Mormon. Just out of curiosity,
there you go. I like that. The Book of Mormon, there were some good songs. I have to say there were. I saw the Book
I've
of
never
Mormon.
seen it. I wanted to, but I've never gotten around to it.
It's not. I would say if it was the Book of Catholics, I would say it's. I don't feel like they were making fun of them for being Mormon. I found it very amusing.
Fair enough. Persuading Hugh Grant to take on the role of Mr. Reed took 4 months with the actor emailing the directors back and forth with questions about his character. Hugh Grant improvised the moment when he meows in reference to what his favorite Monopoly piece, and it caused the actresses to laugh during the take. Remember that? He was.
Yeah.
He's chewing scenery.
Boy, that's like Larry David. He's really big on that improvisation. Get out of here.
This film landed
Get outta
Hugh Grant
here.
his 7th Golden Globe nomination.
What?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the Golden
I like the Golden Globes. That's where Hollywood gets drunk. And I like looking at the audience. They're all running from table to table. They're lit. I prefer the Golden Globes to the Academy Awards, by the way. But they're wrong there.
Really? The thing about it, look, here's what I'll say about the Oscars. I think for some reason, I think the industry and frankly my own opinion is that the Oscars are the one true award show. But that being said, I don't think that the awards actually mean anything. But what's funny is the Golden Globes are notorious for just nominating big stars because they want them to come. Essentially,
It's the Hollywood foreign press. It's the foreign press.
Yes.
I just like it because there's shenanigans going on behind the scenes. I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong. I just say they're more interesting to watch.
Yep, fair enough. None of the main characters are ever addressed or receive a given name. They're known simply as Paxton, Barnes, Reed, and Kennedy. That's Topher Grace as Elder Kennedy, who comes and knocking on the door. Who you think is going to save the
knocking
day?
at my door.
And you think he's going to save the day, and instead just gives him some more LDS literature to read. So
That's right. We're like, uh-oh. Womp womp.
Let's see. The Landlord Game is a real board game created by Lizzie Maggie and is considered a predecessor to the very similar Monopoly board game. So,
I feel like I knew that. I don't know why, but I feel like I knew that.
Ultimate Banking Monopoly is also real, as are the many Monopoly theme editions, including the one based
for sure.
on
We
Bob
have
Ross.
Bako-opoly. There's a Bakersfield Monopoly. Everybody, when I was in Florence, there's a Florentine Monopoly. I mean, everybody has a version.
Interesting. Let's see. This is Hugh Grant's second horror film. Do you know what the first one was? Ooh.
Notting Hill.
Yes, 100%. He was in a movie in 1988, which we might need to add to the list, called The Lair of the White Worm. There you go.
Oh, I feel like I didn't know he was in that, but I feel like at some point in my life I may have seen that. It has some cool images.
When you go to the video store, you had back in the 80s, you would see Lair of the White Worm. It was around.
Yeah.
I never saw it either.
I think I always got it confused with The Serpent and the Rainbow.
It's the exact same thing. Let's talk.
And by the way,
yes,
I figure I'd read the book because I figure the book would be better. It's not. They were both. It was just more clinical. It was more, yeah.
That's no fun.
So, no.
Let's look at the crew or cast, I should say, shall we?
Let's.
Hugh Grant played Mr. Reed. You know him from such things as Love Actually in 2003, yeah. About a Boy in 2002.
With that guy I hate.
That's absolutely true. 4 Weddings and a Funeral in 1994.
Yeah, a classic. I just watched that again this year.
And Notting Hill in 1999.
And that's all he ever did.
That's all you need. I'm telling you, go watch Paddington 2. You'll thank me later.
That doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen.
Sophie Thatcher played Sister Barnes. You know her from 2018's Prospect. 2025, she was in Companion, which Grace keeps telling me I need to watch. She is in Heretic in 2024. And she was in 29 episodes of Yellow Jackets playing Teen Natalie.
Oh.
There you go.
I have to say, the first season of Yellow Jackets is amazing. Second season, I lost interest.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, it's a womp womp, all right. Because I love me some Juliette Lewis.
Let's see. Chloe East played Sister Paxton. You know him, or know him. You know her from such things as The Fabelmans in 2022.
I refuse to see that.
I did too. Heretic in 2024. 2025, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey.
Unfamiliar.
In 2021, she was in 16 episodes of Generation, which I'm unfamiliar with.
Never heard of it. Is that a soap opera?
Could be. Unclear.
Is she Australian? Maybe it's an Australian soap opera.
Maybe. Topher Grace played Elder Kennedy. You know him from 2004's In Good Company.
No.
He was in 2007 Spider-Man 3 playing Venom.
No.
He was in Traffic in 2000. And he was in 179 episodes of That 70s Show playing Eric Foreman.
Oh, that's right. God, I hated that
He
show.
was the star of the show. Actually,
Yeah.
I saw him in something earlier this year. He was in the Mark Wahlberg vehicle Flight Risk. where
Oh, speaking of that 70s show,
Yep.
old Danny Masterson's about 2 hours from me right now
in leg
at
irons.
Corcoran State Prison.
Good Lord. Keep your hands to yourself, guys. I think that's the moral of the story. Let's look at the rating, shall we?
Let's go.
Heretic currently has on Rotten Tomatoes 91% fresh.
What the
Do you know what the audience gave it?
I don't know. I'm too busy having a stroke listening to that nonsense. The audience gave it a 47.
Actually, I forgot. I was just looking at it, but I was so bowled over by your comment. 76% fresh.
No,
So not
too
nearly
high.
as high.
Because they left before it was over. Like, I don't know, they started their period and they had to leave. They forgot. The children were locked in the trunk of the car. They had to leave. The first 45%, I would say, oh, yeah, I would agree. And then you pull the curtain away, and that's where you see all the trash hitting.
Fair enough. The top critics, we got Richard Roper from the Chicago Sun-Times says, through it all, Hugh Grant commits fully to the madness of Mr. Reed, even when the wheels fly off in the final act, and the film falls back on all too familiar horror movie cliches. 2.5.
You're right, Richard. I'm glad we agree.
Peter Travers, Hugh of the ABC News, says Hugh Grant uses his charm for evil in this provocative cat and mouse game about the meaning, if any, of religion in a godless modern world. The rom-com dreamboat of yore has been replaced by a diabolical presence eager to set us all to hell. What fun.
I don't think what he said is correct.
Fair enough.
I don't think that's a valid description of the film. And the fact that he didn't even mention the end means I don't think he saw the whole movie. I think that's bullshit.
You think he left in the middle and said,
I think it's a scam. Well, he's not watching it at the theater. He's watching it at home, and he fast forwarded. I'm under a timeline. Let me get through this, because the description really doesn't fit the movie, and he didn't even mention how it all falls to shit.
Fair enough.
Scam.
Our next top critic, writing from Observer, is Rex Reed, the real Rex Reed. He says,
the real Rex Reed,
right
on, bro.
Hugh Grant embraces his inner monster, ditching charm for chills. At least that's the intent. But nothing can save this laughably overwrought pseudo-horror mess from collapsing under its own pretensions. 1 out of 4.
Dude.
Boom.
Rex Reed is correct. Yes, I need a shirt with just Rex Reed on it. I bet I can get one.
Now, you may think, since we've got the real Rex Reed, that we're not going to go to our resident.
No. You're going to compare it?
Here's what AI Rex Reed had to say about it, our resident critic here. Heretic plays like a TikTok philosophy debate, stretched to feature length, moody, meandering, and convinced it's saying something profound while whispering sweet nothings into the void. Boom. Thank you, AI
That's nice.
Rex Reed. Aaron, what is your rating for Heretic?
I'm trying to look, hang on, stall, because I'm trying to look up to see if I can find a Rex Reed t-shirt. And it keeps wanting to show me fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex.
You know, Aaron,
it shows me literally anything.
Recording.
No, I'm sharing this with the audience. It shows me everything but a Rex Reed t-shirt. So I think I've already said my review. 3/4 solid. Hugh needs to do some more dark work. Enjoy it. The whole thing falls to shit at the end. I'm going to give it 2.75. If you want to watch movies with bizarre tunnels, Barbarian.
Barbarian is a superior film. I will not disagree with you there.
It'll knock your socks off, babies.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I think 75% of the movie is quite good, I would argue.
Yes, I was down for it. And then all of a sudden, then you have the light goes on. You're like, oh shit.
The grand reveal is disappointing. No question. The grand reveal is disappointing. Now the question is, how disappointing do you find it? Right? Um, I saw it, like I said, back in December, and I walked out of theater going, I liked it, but was kind of my attitude. And that's kind of similar to my attitude now. I don't think the ending ruins it, but it
Well, then
is
you're
definitely
wrong.
it's
Here's my
definitely
hot
disappointing.
take.
I'm going to give it 3.75. I'm going to give it a whole point
What?
greater than
You're
yours.
like yeah, you're right. It's almost like The Shining.
It's just like
It's that
if I
quality.
give
Oh
anything
my
a
god.
3, you're like, oh, you're saying it's The Shining? No, I'm not saying it's The
You are
Shining.
giving it almost a 4.
Oh, but
What
I'm
the
not.
hell?
But I'm not.
Oh my god.
But I'm not.
You know what? I'm sad for our parents.
Why?
You make me sad.
Why? Why are you sad for them? Because they gave birth to me? Is that what you're saying?
They brought life to you.
They did do that. That is true. Any last thoughts on Heretic?
I will not give it another thought. How about that?
By the way, not to be confused with Exorcist 2, The Heretic, starring Linda Blair.
It is Heretic, not The Heretic.
Correct. So, moving on then. So, thank you very much. We are across social media. We're on Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube if you enjoy that particular app, a website. You can also email us, the podcast that wouldn't die at
Gmail.
We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review, won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
I have media. So I'm on the Instagram. I am the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I also have art at First Dibs and Artsy, Aaron Doherty. Check it out. Buy something.
Check it out, for God's sakes. As you know,
in the name of all that's holy.
In the name of the heretic. As you know, we like to include our friends across the social media landscape, sharing their thoughts and feelings on various things we've said and done, or just about life. Aaron, what do they say? What are the streets saying?
The streets are saying Barry Corbett sent me a message and wanted to know why we are recording this piece of trash called Heretic, and why aren't we more focused on the art films that we all enjoy?
Like what? Vim Vendors or somebody?
We need more Salt of the Earth, Vim Vendors, Peter Greenaway, the classics.
I appreciate Barry Corbett chiming in. I think you're going to say John Corbett or somebody.
I was not going to say
Barry
that.
Corbin.
How dare you,
from,
sir.
who was also on Northern Exposure, if you're watching.
Or Bud Cort.
Bud Cort maybe throwing his 2 cents into the pot there. Oh, sweet Jesus.
It's not too late.
Next week, we're discussing the horror classic Cat People. Now, this is important because there was a old black and white version.
Not the Curse of the Cat People.
Well, there was Cat People, and then there was the sequel, Curse of the Cat People. We're talking about the Natasha Kinski, Malcolm McDowell. What was that, 82? What do you think?
If David Bowie's not singing the theme song, putting out the fire with gasoline, you're on the wrong movie, babies.
Fair enough. 1982's Cat People. Natasha Kinski, Malcolm McDowell, and others. John Hurd. John Hurd was in this as well. So, how can we watch?
He was in everything.
Yeah, including Chud, for example.
Chud.
He was the hardest working man in show business. Yep. How can you watch Cat People? That's an excellent question.
That's a good question, Kevin. How can we?
Sadly, not for free. Not for free.
Mother effers.
Jeff
Bezos, quit making me pay for your fucking Italian dream wedding, you mother.
You mother. $3.79 on Amazon Prime, $3.99 on Apple TV, YouTube, and Fandango at home. Wah, wah, wah. So check out Cat People and send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions, and we may talk about it on the show. So thank you very much, and be well.
Before we go, kids, I
Please.
just saw the final season of You. Finish it up. You got to watch it. Peace.